looked at each other for a moment in silence. Is she from New York? I asked quietly. Did you give Nick a little heart-to-heart talk on the veranda? Demanded Tom violently, or suddenly.
Steven. Me, okay.
Did I on page 23?
Yep, did I? She looked at me. I can't seem to remember, but I think we talked about the Nordic race. Yes, I'm sure we did. It sort of crept up on me the first thing you know. Don't believe everything you hear, Nicky advised. That's right, corroborated Dick kindly. I mean, we heard that you were arranged. I'm liable. 2-4. But we heard it, insisted David, surprising me by opening up like a flower-like way. We heard it from 300 people, so it must be true. Of course I knew what they were referring to, but I wasn't even vaguely engaged. In fact, that gossip I published in band for the reason I come. Geez, you can't start going to an old friend on account of rumors. On the other hand, I never entered me rumored into marriage. Their interests rather touched me, but made me less mortally wish. I was confused. It seemed to be that the thing for days was to rush out of the house, child and robbers, but apparently there's so much advantage in their head. As for Tom, the fact that he had some woman in New York was
really less surprising than that he had been depressed by it. Something was making him nibble at the edge of the stale idea, as if his sturdy physical egotism no longer nourished his determinatory heart. Already it was a new summer on Roadhouse Roofs in front of a wayside garage where red new dress pump sat out in the full of light. When I reached my state at Westgate, I ran the car under the shed, sat for a while on an abandoned grass road in the dark. The wind had blown off, leaving a loud, bright night with the wings beating in the trees as a persistent organ sound. As the full bellows of the earth blew the frogs full of life. Reminded to not kiss frogs. The silhouette of a moving cat wavered across the moonlight, turning my head to watch it as I saw that I was not alone. 50 feet away, a figure had emerged from the shadow of the neighbor's mansion and was standing with hands in his pockets regarding the silver pepper of the stars. Something in his leisurely movements and the significant feet upon the lawn shows that Mr. Gatsby himself come out to determine what share was his of our local happiness. I decided to call him. Miss Baker had mentioned him at dinner, and that would not do for an introduction, but I didn't call out to him. He gave a sudden intimidation that he was content to be all alone. He stretched out his arms towards the dark water in a curious way, and far as I was from him, I could have sworn he was trembling involuntarily. I glanced seaward and distinguished nothing except a single green light minute and far away that might have been at the end of the dock. When I looked once more for Gatsby, he had vanished, and I was alone again in the unquiet darkness. Chapter 2, I popcorn for golf.
About halfway between West Egg and New York, the motor road hastily joins the railroad and runs beside it for a quarter of a mile, so as it shrinks away from a certain desolate area of land. This is the Valley of Ashes, a fantastic farm where ashes grow like wheat into ridges and hills into grotesque gardens, where the ashes takes the form. Oh God. Take the forms of houses and chimneys and raising smokes, and finally, with transcendent effort of a man who moved dimly and already crumbling throughout the powdery air. Occasionally, a line of gray cars crawls along the invisible track, gives out a ghostly creak, and comes to rest. And immediately, the ash-gray men swarm up within leaden spades and stir up an impenetrable cloud, which screens the obscure operations of your sight. But above the gray land and the spans of bleak dust which drift endlessly over it, you perceive after a moment the eyes of Dr. T.J. Ethelberg. The eyes of the doctor are blue and gigantic. Their restraints are 1 yard high. They only look out with no face, but instead a pair of enormous yellow spectacles, which patch over a non-existent nose. Evidently some of the wild wag occupants set them there to fatten his practice in the borough of Queens, and then sank down himself into eternal blindness would forget them and moved away. But his eyes dimmed a little by many paintless days under the sun and rain, brood on over the solemn dumping ground. I popcorn Dakota.
Valley of Ashes is bounded. The Valley of Ashes is bounded on one side by a small fall. What the? Small foul river, and when the drawbridge is let up, what? And when the drawbridge is let up, is up to let. Oh my God! To let barges through, the passengers on waiting trains can stare at the dismal scene for as long as half an hour. There was always a halt there for at least a minute, and that was because of this when I first met Tommy and his mistress. We're getting off, I insisted. I want to let you meet my girl. I think he'd think of a good deal at lunch alone, and his determination to get my company boarded. I followed him over the whitewashed railroad fence, and we walked back 100 yards along the road under Dr. Eckelberg's persistent stare. One of the three shops it contained was for rent, and another was all-night restaurant approached by the trail of ashes. The third was a garage repaired George B. Wilson. Car bought and sold, and I followed Tom inside. Steven.
Follow Tom inside. He's so dumb and he doesn't know he's alive. So Tommy Sheehan and his girl and I went up together to New York. We're not quite together. For Miss Wilson, she sat discreetly in another car. Tom looked towards her, and much to the sensibilities of the Seaseggers who might be on the train. She changed her dress into a brown figured muslin, which she showed tight over her rather wide hips as Tom helped her to the platform in New York. The newsstand she bought a copy of Tom's title on the moving picture magazine, and in the station drugstore some cold cream and a small flask of perfume. Upstairs in the solemn echoing drive, she let the four taxi cabs drive away before she lighted a new one, lavender color with gray upholstery, and then this slid out of the mass of the station into the glow of the sunshine. But immediately she turned sharply from the window and leaning forward, tapped on the front glass. I want to get one of those dogs, she said in her see. I want to get one for the apartment. They're so nice to have the dog. We backed up to the gray man who bore an absurd resemblance to John D. Rockefeller. In a mask of smoke from his neck, cowered a dozen very recent puppies from a determined breed. What kind are they? Asked Miss Wilson eagerly as they came to the detective. All kinds. What do you want, lady? I like the one of the police dogs. I don't suppose you got any of that kind. Curse